Okay, do a little quick test audio. Okay, we got audio rolling right now. Hope everybody's doing well. If you're joining in on the live stream, please drop your name in the chat. Let's know. I'd like to know who's hanging out with us tonight. And we'll get started here in just a second. Crack open my sparkly water. It's 11:46. Let's get the party started. Okay. Cool. Boom. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope you guys are doing okay and everything is going well in your neck of the woods. Today is our storyboard Q&A session. I thought I'd do something a little bit different for you friends at home, and so I have some questions that some people have asked, and we can answer them on this particular live stream. And or if you have questions that are irking you and you want answers, I'll do my best to try to help you out and answer your questions. And we'll sort of leave it open for today, and leave the time open for you friends out there. So if you have any questions, you can ask questions or processes and things like that. That would be good. All good on the audio. So we got Buddha Belly joining, and we got 3D Chick. Nice to see you back on, 3D Chick. Odd 10 Cafe, how's it going? Hope everybody's having a beautiful start of your week. Today is Monday, and it is our storyboarding, mastering the basics. If we haven't met before, my name is Paul Angeli, and I'm a live action storyboard artist. I do a lot of things too, but my forte was a lot of film style storyboards and things like that. I've worked in comics, I've worked in animation, worked in a lot of different arenas, video games, things like that. So cool. So we got Buddha Belly hanging out, and 3D Chick, Odd 10 Cafe. 3D Chick says, "Hey, how you doing?" I say, "Hi back. How's it going?" And glad to finally catch one live. Awesome. Yeah. Is the time frame working? It just works best for me for these live streams. Usually 11:45 at night. It's really late, and I've worked all day, and but it quiets down. Everybody's in bed, and I can sort of work in my home office here and get cracking and have some fun with you friends out here. So if you're watching here live, awesome, welcome back, or welcome back again if you were able to catch a live stream. And two, if you're catching this on the replay, we got a lot of friends out there watching this on the replay, and it's so amazing to see. And it just humbles me all the time. Just people from all over the world. We've had Australia, we've had Europe, England, we've had Brazil, we've had South America, China, everywhere, and it's just so awesome to catch up with everybody and sort of hang out. And but this session is for you friends out there. We never get to sort of chit chat a little bit. It's not like a Google Zoom, but use the chat function here if you have any questions. I'm gonna sort of work on a little project while we're chit chatting. If you just want to follow along with the project, this has been an exciting month for me. I've taken part on this mermaid challenge. Man, this is a tough challenge. Hats off to all the artists out there partaking in Tony Bancroft's mermaid competition contest. It's a lot of work, man, and we're almost halfway through. A couple more days, and we're at the 15th. It's the halfway marker, and it's just amazing to see how much time it's been taking to draw mermaids. It's crazy, and especially the project I have behind the scenes that I'm trying to work with my mermaid, with this warrior princess Ronin style, kick butt, mermaid girl that I've been working with, and we're gonna draw a little bit of her tonight too. So I can get day 13 knocked out. So I hope you've been following along on Instagram and seeing the different pics that I've been throwing up there. We'll probably do we'll figure out where we're going to go with this at the end. I've been animating like crazy with it too, so I haven't shown any. It's a little bit of a secret, that I've been working on, and it's been a while. I had to dust off my animation chops and see if I still had it in me. So, and having stuff going. So cool. 3D Chick says, glad to finally catch one live. Your time is fine. My life's the issue. Hey, listen, we're all going through something, my friend. And then Marianne GR says, hey, I got a cool little hand wave and looks like a smiling fish. Very cool. Thanks so much. Always a pleasure to have you, Marianne GR. So, like I said, this is for you friends out there. So I'm gonna sort of, like I said, it's been a busy 2 weeks so far, or a week and a half since we kicked off. The month of May is Mermay. I've been doing the challenge. I've been super enjoying this challenge, and like I always say, go and do challenges or follow some sort of prompt. I haven't been really following the prompts for Mermaid. I've just been doing sort of my own thing and having fun with it as I develop this character and stuff. But maybe I'll do some of the prompts too, just for giggles and have some fun with it too. It's great to see the official people doing and hosting the Mermaid, checking out my work, and it's fun just to see it, and it tickles just to be able to see that. So awesome. And so I know a lot of you are all working on projects, but let's open up the table real quick before I get started into what I'm doing and the questions that have been pre-asked. What questions do you have? Throw it in the chat. And if you have a question in the chat, I'd love to help you. I created this channel, gosh, 8 months ago, and I appreciate and humbled that you're taking your time out of your busy day to come and hang out with Paulie here and talk animation, talk film, talk storyboarding, visual storytelling in whatever which way you want to go. So drop your questions into the chat if you get 2 seconds there, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Buddha Belly, I did get your email. I'm happy you got those new books, and I'm excited to see where you take your drawing, with doing your master studies there. So good stuff, and I appreciate you reaching out and let me know and give me updates of what you're working on. So continue the work, continue, keep drawing away. So I'm going to give it a minute or here. Don't be shy. Ask a question if you have it. This is this live stream is for you. So if you have a question, please drop it in the chat so I can get that question and get going, because there's so many different people on YouTube that you can learn from. For me, I've always I thought it was a great experience, and what I enjoyed doing these live streams and having fun doing this is I always wish I had a mentor, somebody that would help me out when I first got started. And there's a lot of places you can go. You can pay money and do all sorts of crazy stuff, and it's just like I look back in the day, there was no internet. If I was interested in learning about animation or storyboarding, or it wasn't even storyboarding at the time, you never saw anything like that. You're lucky if you saw a picture here and a picture there of what a storyboard. Not until like Terminator 2 came out did you see some storyboards and things like that. But it was hard to come across things. You would see it was movie magic, and there wasn't a lot of information. I remember getting into animation, and my cousin I have an older cousin, and he was so nice. And for my birthday, we found an old used book of, The Illusion of Life, and learned animation based on this book. And you can see how thick it is. And I've had this book now, gosh, it tells you how old I am. I've had to have had this book for, gosh, at least 30 plus years, and I love this book. So, and I still hold it up on the show today. So thanks so much. Okay, so got some questions coming in, and Kodo Kunayumi asks, what drawing exercises do you think are the most effective for building your drawing skills? I've been trying to copy a reference and then redrawing it from memory. Well, you're already off to a good start, Kodokuna Yumi. I think, you know, when you're learning how to draw, and and forgive me, I don't know if you've taken art classes, if you know your traditional, you know, human anatomy. Do you know perspective? Do you know composition? I don't know how much you know already, and maybe you're just trying to do that. But if you are, I really believe in master studies. We just did one on Darwin Cook, the comic, and maybe we'll do more of those on our Thursday night sketching after hours. It seemed like a lot of people liked it, and you guys all watched it. And I would say what drawing exercise are the most effective in building your drawing skills? I think it's for me personally. I think it's the constant drawing every day, putting in the pencil mileage, the sketch mileage, the pen mileage, the put in the mileage every single day into your sketchbook. Um, I think it's really important to find your voice through your artwork and to draw as much as you can, and then take a step back and sort of look at what you enjoy drawing. And some things come like that. Other things, man, you got to really work on it. You know, maybe it's perspective that's a challenge. Hands and feet is a challenge. Those type of things. And I think after those steps of just drawing, and then seeing what you're good at and what you enjoy, what gives you pleasure to draw, and what keeps you drawing, so it doesn't feel like work. When I draw, it never feels like work, and I just love it, and I can express myself that way. I'm not a musician. You put me in front of a microphone, or you put me behind my old clarinet. I'm like Squidward from SpongeBob SquarePants. I can't hold a tune, but you put a paintbrush, you put a pen, you put a piece of charcoal, something in my hand, and I can do my thing with that. I can make music videos, and I've directed quite a few music videos and those type of things. I'm great at that. But you get me on a guitar or something, man, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And it's just that type of thing. So again, uh, Kodo Kuna Yumi, uh, practice as much as you can. Find out what you like drawing, and then find those artists that you do that inspire you. And I'm if you want to copy their style, copy it. You know what I mean? Or just literally trace with their work, but use it as a function of learning. Don't go off and go do an Instagram image of somebody else's drawing and say, "Oh, this is what I drew." You're not doing yourself any good. And that person put a lot of work into learning their craft. And I would say when you're looking at somebody's work and you're drawing over their work, you can sort of learn how they draw. How do they do their lines and thickness and weight, and how do they put their composition together? And there's a lot you can learn. And then, like you said, I thought it was a good exercise is to then draw it yourself. You can look at the reference, but just draw it freehand, and then get rid of the reference and then continue drawing. And you'll eventually pull your own style into that too, from the things you like. And maybe there's different artists I've seen. Some artists, I'm impressed with it because I like their anatomy. Other artists, I like their rendering. Other artists, I like their composition. Other artists, I like the way they draw women, or I like the way they draw bodies in motion. Or another person, I love how they draw vehicles. And it's a combination of all these things. And through that practice, you'll be able to achieve your own style and your own voice in terms of how you work. But it sounds like you already got your question answered, Kodo Kuno Yume. It's yeah, and then and then the practicing. It's like you sit there and you watch an artist, or whether if I'm drawing or something, I just go to it, and I'm not using any reference. I'm not sitting there looking at photos of people holding bowls of fruit or whatever. It's great to do, and but I just do it because you understand what is the mechanics of anatomy, what is all these different things that you've practiced for so many years. Um, I think another great place to do is to do live drawing to life drawing. And I'm not talking about a bowl of fruit with a banana and an apple and an orange. That's great to do, but get out in nature, draw what you see outside. Go draw vehicles. Go draw cars. Go, you know, go draw buildings. Go draw the mailbox. No matter where you are in the world. You know, go draw animals. Go to animal refuge or a zoo or an aquarium or something like that, and just draw. You know, you might be the funky person there drawing fish or tortoise or whatever it might be, but that's going to give you some really. It's different when you're drawing something. When you're always drawing off a picture, you're gonna a picture is compressing that 3D environment into a 2D picture, and when you're out there drawing, I think you see the world, you see perspective, you see a lot of different things that you don't usually get to see. So I hope that helps you out on your first question. Do you do any kind of experimenting with memory exercises? Yeah, when I'm drawing and I'm sitting in front of a director or a client, I don't have time to sit there and go, let me get some reference material. I'm just going to go and do the best job I can with the knowledge that I already have. And I think that's where that practice every single day. If you're serious about becoming a storyboard artist, you're serious about becoming an illustrator or a comic book artist, you need to be doing this craft each and every day. It's just like martial arts. You know, you need to practice your katas. You need to practice your forms. You need to practice and stay focused in what you're doing, and practice and practice and practice. Because then one day somebody, you know, I'm sitting there working, like, you know, I'll be talking to a director and they're like, hey, remember that scene from that movie? And you're like, yeah, I got that. And you remember the shots, and boom, boom, you just draw it out. And I think that helps a lot with memory exercises in terms of how it's just repetition. You know, it's you know, when I'm drawing, I usually see the image in my head first, sort of crazy, but I see it in my head first, and then I just, you know, replicate what I see in my head and sort of do that, and then I let it flow. Maybe I'll do a little this, a little that, but I sort of see the composition in my head before I start drawing. Or I already see the character and how I want the character to look and those type of things. But I think it's the practice. It's the daily sketching. It's the cafe sketching. It's the going in real life sketching and practicing. And there's a lot of people that have little gatherings and stuff like that. I try to host on Thursday nights our sketching after hours. So if you want to sketch or learn something new, we sort of have our sketch session together. So I hope that helps you out too. I have heard, Kodo Kuna Yumi says, I have heard of directors going to see a movie in the theaters, then going back to the studio and try to redraw the scenes from memory. That's a cool exercise. I have a Instagram friend out there, Sachin, and Sachin goes and he, I believe, goes and just literally pauses between every shot in a film and does a quick line drawing of that film. We call it reverse storyboarding. And so if you're trying to see how a scene works, or maybe a scene made you feel something, or you got, you know, you're sitting there with Jason Statham, and you're like, all right, we're gonna go kick some butt, and it's like, what makes you feel like that? What made you cry in the Notebook? You know, what made you feel like you're standing there with Thor? You know, Chris Hemsworth. You know, it's like, what makes you pumped up? What makes you feel, you know, for these characters? And pick those sequences and sort of reverse storyboard those sequences. And like I mentioned, my friend Sachin, Sachin has done, I believe, Terminator 2, shot for shot. He just completed Raiders of the Lost Ark, shot for shot. And I think he's currently working on Steven Spielberg's E.T., the extraterrestrial. So with Elliot and Reese's Pieces and the whole 9 yards with that, Gertie, you know, the whole family thing. And the, you know, I have to go check to see how far he's gotten in the movie, but we call it reverse storyboarding. It's a great way to learn how to put the sequences together, because it's one thing to do the drawing, and but to, how does a scene work? How does a sequence work? How does acting work? How does blocking and staging and there's other things? I think it's a great way to learn, is just to sit there. I forgot the director of Kung Fu Panda. I think it was 2. I have to look her name up. Let me look her name up real quick. Give her some respect, because I think I was watching. Kung Fu Panda. I thought it was 2. Jennifer Yu Nelson. Yeah. and I remember Jennifer Yu Nelson, and she was literally watching other movies and pausing and drawing the storyboards and things like that. She had a nice collection, and I thought, and I give a lot of credit to that director. I enjoyed Kung Fu Panda 2. I've enjoyed I haven't seen the latest one, but the first, the second, and the third, I enjoyed them all. You know, with Jack Black playing Poe, and you know, I just love the whole idea of it, and it's beautiful artwork. I love the martial arts, and I just thought it was great. With that. So yeah, try that. I think it's a great exercise. When I go to the movies, and this is a quick thing on movies, I haven't been to the movies for a while, and I'm looking forward to going again. But everything's so easy now with streaming and renting and all that type of stuff. I just don't have time. But I think it's when I go to the movies, I want to enjoy the movie. We pay a lot of money to go to see a movie, right? Typical movies cost them quite a bit of money if you've got a family and popcorn and drinks and everything like that. It costs a lot of money these days, and I want to go and be entertained. I want to go have fun. When I'm usually watching a movie, I just go to enjoy the movie the first time, and then if I have a movie that I'm sitting there going, well, how am I going to break this down? Or I can sort of figure this out, or what's the next shot? I'm thinking like that. I don't think it's a very good movie, But when I'm invited into that world, and the director and the whole creative team invites you into that world, and you're just like there, I try to enjoy it, and then maybe on the second or third run of watching the film, then I'll start breaking it down, or those scenes and stuff like that. If you can remember, every sequence in a movie, I try to go to enjoy first, and then if you're catching it on the second or third round, then go ahead, start breaking it down and have fun like that. So, but that sounds like cool. If you can literally watch a movie and draw every sequence of it, that's pretty cool. That's super cool. But hopefully that answers your questions. Koda Kuna Yumi, super appreciate you joining in and asking the first questions. Cool. Marianne GR says, I always struggle with backgrounds. Like I can't project my idea on paper. Any tips? I like how you create backgrounds with a lot of texture. Thank you. Appreciate that, Marianne GR. So yeah, backgrounds are tough, and I'll tell you a little storyboards hack. Okay, so when I'm doing storyboards, I'm going to put the most data, meaning backgrounds, where is in my establishing shots. My full shots and my establishing shots, I do that. If I'm doing a quick action sequence, I'm not gonna do a bunch of detail on the backgrounds. I'm gonna keep it pretty flat or simple, and worry about the acting and the motion and the fighting and those type of things. Because in a sense, when you're setting up that establishing shot, that would usually be your first shot in your film, or your first panel in your comic book, or whatever it might be. You want to do the background, and have it. You want to tell me who, what, when, where are we at? That's why it is a extreme wide angle or a wide angle shot in terms of what we're doing, and I think you want, and I think the difficult part for a lot of folks is you want to create depth, right? We're looking at a 2D image and we're trying to create depth. So let's cut back over, because I'm going to answer this question a little bit more detailed. And let's look at that. Let me go to Little Polly. Hey, Little Polly is here. Yay! Okay, cool. Okay, so let's go here. Then, like I said, I'm happy we're doing a Q&A, and this Q&A session is for you, friends. So keep those questions coming. I'll keep firing away. And if you don't have any more questions, I'll use some of the pre-written questions that were sent in. But yeah, send it in. Appreciate it. So let me take a sip of my drink, because I'm in chitter chat box here. Okay, let's turn this off. Okay, so let's say this is our shot. Okay, here is our HD 1920 by 1080 shot here. Okay, usually I'm running at 300 DPI. Okay, and you want to create depth. in terms of your image, right? And there's different ways that you can teach composition and do these different things, but let me get my stylus here. And the way I think about it is I'm sort of thinking of that Disney process. Okay. And you have all these images here that are all lined up. You have your background, you have your foreground, and then, you know, these areas here can be sort of like your middle ground. And what you're trying to do, when I'm drawing and I'm thinking, there might be some layers, and that's what's great about using Photoshop, Marianne, is that I'll have some layers in there that I can play around with to create depth. And I think, you know, one of the things that I create depth with, let's just use black and white, okay? So when I have something close to me or on top, I'll use my darkest dark, okay? And as I go in space, I'll go lighter and lighter and lighter. And so if I'm there, I'm going to get something like 75%. Like this. And I'll do another drawing to show you what I mean, Marianne. Let's get the... And what is going on when you're doing this is you're creating depth in your image in terms of how you're doing it. Oops. Put it right there. Oops. The thing I'm doing. And so I'll use that type of style. And sometimes I'll either use this 1, 2, that's 5. Five tones. Okay, here in terms of what you're doing, in terms of how I'm going to draw that drawing. And let's put over here. Let's make a you know, a storyboard frame box here. Get it in black. Okay. So there's our bounding box here. Whoops. Okay. And so what I'll do is I always, and this is where the power of Photoshop is. Let's say I grab this area. And this would be my background layer here. Boom. There you go. Okay. And then like a stage, I'll create other layers up on top of it. So let's create another layer. And then let's grab our blacks. Okay. And then let's draw some sort of a creature or something. Okay, we'll keep it pretty simple with this creature. Looks like we created a alien creature. Okay, so we have an alien creature. Let's shrink him down a little bit. New layer. Okay, let's come up with something cool. Some sort of cool background. Oops. Not too much there. Okay, so if we have this creature in the back, okay, and we want him to pop out a little bit. Let's see here. Like this type of thing, okay? And let's play up this a little bit. Okay, so what I can do then, so we have that background color, and say that the foreground color that we want is in black. What I could do then is just create some sort of gridding like this. So what you're doing is you're creating these layers in here, and what we're doing is we're pushing back and pushing back. Maybe there's some sort of box here, some sort of computer system. And these are the objects that are closest to you. And so as we go back in space now, we could use those different colors to help us now. Maybe there's control panels and other things in there as well. And you're creating depth. create another layer. Now we're at that 50% marker. You can sort of see the depth coming into play here. And let's create one more layer in there. You can sort of see as we're looking through that tone, we're getting darker and darker. And then we can make our creature. Let's see which one our creature was. I'm gonna have to go back and find my creature. We could tone him back too to show him that he's in the distance. Back there, and if we had one that was closer, let's duplicate that. That alien, let's bring another one closer. We can make that one darker here. And I can literally let's change his arms a little bit here, so he doesn't look the same. Maybe he's dragging one of the people or something. And you can sort of see the depth in terms of what we're doing here. We could change his direction or something just to make it interesting. Sort of get the idea. Now you're showing depth, and it goes back to that scenario. This is sort of a rudimentary idea, but goes back to what we were talking about with this image of the 5 towns. Usually I try, and you can sort of see the depth going on in that particular image. It's very easy to look at right there. But you can sort of get the idea of the alien, you know, dragging something off in the foreground. You know, it's a foreground versus the background. Cool. So I struggle with backgrounds. I can't project my idea on paper. Any tips? So try it like that. You can do it on paper using just a couple different shades with your pencil, or a couple different Copic markers, or, you know, 3 have white, black, and maybe 1 grayscale color. If you see a lot of my ink drawings, I'll do it like that too. Now, when you're storyboarding this creates a lot of render time in terms of what you're doing. But if you're doing a beat board or something like that, you can get away with this, showing some. And you can do the reverse too, you know, where you go from light to dark, you know, because you know, it's like, what do we want to be focusing on? The darkest items are where we're going to be focusing our eyes, and there might be 100 aliens back over here in the background, but we're focused on this alien in the foreground. Or we push it and go light to dark, you know, in terms of what we're doing. There's some fantastic storyboard artists that used light to direct your eye, and I try to do that in my drawings too. So if I wanted to, like, you to focus on this particular alien over here and not the alien in the background that's right there, what I might do too is go to create a new layer, and even if you just put a little bit of just that extra little bit of that light, that'll help to get your eye to that over there, just because your eye is going to go to that brightest spot. So I can darken this other area over here, so you get an idea of that image, and having your eye directed to this face right here. We could tone this back even more, or grayscale it out. So this is some down and dirty tricks on how to create, and even it works well even at a smaller size, as you can see here too. Cool. So I hope that answers your question. Let me see if you. Marianne says, I see. I never work on grayscale. I've seen some artists go from grayscale to color, but as I use Mendabang, I never tried that method. Give it a shot. See how that works for you. You know, it's like sometimes I'll do that, and even if I go back in there and just try to see what layers I have. Oops. So if you're trying to add color in there, because what you could do too is just go like this and add it to make it eerie or something like that. You can go and get a blue color, and everything is sort of tinted to blue. With the same idea of what you're trying to do to get something there. Or if you want, you can do a, now we're getting pretty fancy here in Photoshop, or let me add something else in there too. You can do something like this, and then and just let me see here, get your gradient tool. Now we got it really creepy. Type of thing. yeah, I hope this gives you some great stuff there, and you can sort of play around with that. We had it super creepy there for a second there. It was sort of like misty. It creates like a mist behind that main character. Or you could have a blur on the character that's closest to you. So cool. Yeah. So Marianne says, I see. I never work on grayscale. I've seen some artists go from grayscale to color, but I use the Mendabang. I never tried that method. Yeah, give it a try. See how that works for you. And you know, it works for me all the time. And you know, I'll draw in black and white, and then I'll start, you know, putting that page together. Let me throw a save at this. I thought that was sort of fun to do there too. So thanks for the tips. I'll try it in my old whips. Cool. Work in progresses. Cool. Yeah, give it a try. And then 3D Chick says, super helpful. Thank you. Of course, you're welcome. Kunoyumi says, thank you very much for your advice, Paul. This is a video I will have to replay and take notes. Yeah, thank you. Let me see here. What other questions? So Marianne talked about struggling with backgrounds. That's a quick little tip on that. 3D Chick says, I second Marianne's question. Backgrounds are hard. And then just play around with compositions too, you know, foreground, middle ground, backgrounds. Just start playing with that. Even if you draw those in 3 different shade tones of gray too as well. That's a great way. Cool. Odd One O Cafe says, are clean reverse storyboards enough to potentially land a first gig today? A clean reverse. What do you mean by reverse? Reverse. A clean reverse storyboard enough to potentially land a first gig today. I think your storyboards. I'm trying to understand what you meant by that. But I don't know what a clean reverse storyboard is. I think storyboards let me pull this together here. Oh. Let's do it like this. Group layers. Cool. Done. Turn that off. Cool. Okay. So, good question. I think I understand what your question is, but if you could embellish on the question a little bit, that'd be helpful. So when it comes to storyboards and showing your boards, I need to. This is a question more towards where did that question go? Okay, are clean reverse storyboards enough to potentially land a first gig joint? Remember, you are story. Come on, computer. Board artist. I think the biggest thing for you to know is the art, drawing, stories, and sequence. I think the biggest thing is clear and concise images. Okay, What I mean by that is just is this one. Clarity is king. Okay, and you need to, every shot that you're drawing needs to tell story, and it needs to mean something to push the story along. Maybe it's a bit of information, you know, it has to have some sort of significance in term, and that's what makes storyboarding so difficult, and and a computer can't figure that out, because to a certain extent, because you're trying to tell a story through images. The simplest way you can tell a story is through sequential art of a comic strip. It's usually 3 panels, 4 panels, bang, you know, bang, bang, boom. It's sort of done, you know. Set up, uh, you know, uh, the setup, the problem, resolution. You know, in terms of if you're a Calvin and Hobbes fan, or whatever, Peanuts, Snoopy, you know, there's all different ways you can go, and each drawing needs is to evoke the story. It's pushing the story. It's pushing the narrative. It's pushing the acting. It's pushing what the viewer is seeing. And I think it is so important to have clear and concise boards. I've seen, you know, when you see a lot of boards, you see them super fancy, and you see the production boards that are going to go in the art of book or whatever like that. But most of the time, a lot of storyboards are pretty simple, because you don't have time. You're drawing hundreds and hundreds of drawings. You don't have time to sit there and make each one beautiful and be perfect and stuff. And you need to be able to, because you're not going to hit your deadline. So you need, you know, I've seen storyboards that are pretty simple, and literally just in, and sometimes they're just in silhouette in terms of what they're doing. And I think, and they're just simple, you know, and there's a thumbnail, there's a, it's whatever it is, you know, and you want to be clear in terms of your messaging and how you're going to do this. You know, whether if I'm drawing this character here, it's like, you know, if we're drawing this sort of character here, let me move him over here. It's like we want to be clear in terms of the images that we're creating. And sometimes your thumbnails are, in terms of what you're doing here. And I think it just needs to be clear. Is it nighttime? Is it daytime? What's going on with this particular shot? You know, I think it's important. that you have clarity in terms of what you're doing. I have a warrior Conan type of character here. You know, it's nighttime. You know, we're in a. I could go add a little bit of. It's cloudy. You can sort of get the idea, you know, in terms of what you're doing. So, you know, storyboard artists, drawing stories in sequence, clear and concise images. Clarity is king. I don't think you have to be the perfect artist, but I think you need to, you know, be able to show your images. I think the big thing is that you are a storyteller. You are a storyteller. Okay. Simple. I think simple is good. And never miss a deadline. I think, you know, I would say anywhere from 2 to 3 solid sequences. For a portfolio. For a portfolio, you know, and you know you got to curtail your work for the project that you're working on. There's a little bit of debate too when it comes to if you're showing your work and you're, let's just say I'm trying to get a, if you're trying to get a job over at Lucasfilm or something like that, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to do a bunch of Luke Skywalker and Vader, and I'm going to just do a cool sword fight. To me, that's cool, but why would you do that? You know, you're being hired to be a problem solver. As a storyboard artist, you're being hired. Darth Vader already exists. You know, Luke Skywalker already exists. So, you know, what new characters, what new creatures, what new ships, what new things can you do with the Star Wars feel to it? If you're trying to apply, you know, the other thing too is you're not going to do a horror movie type of sequence and send it to Lucasfilm. You're going to go and you're going to do a storyboard curtailed to the type of productions that you know Lucasfilm is doing. You know, you're going to do it. You know, space. You know, you're going to. You know, you're going to a little bit on. You know. All the things that make Star Wars great, you know what I mean? Creatures and aliens and ships and robots and good versus evil, light versus dark, and you know, there's all different things you can play with without having to draw R2D2, C3PO, Lando Calrissian, all Princess Leia, everybody that's a Gamorrean guard. Do something fresh, do something new, you know, with that, and you know, do the type of sequences we would see. We would see a big sequence of you know, a starfighter type, you know, battle. We would see some sort of saber duel. We're going to see blasters, and we're going to see some other stuff. So curtail those projects, or when you're putting those 2 to 3 sequences of, you know, your shots together, of those sequences to tell your story, curtail it. If you're going to go and you're going to go hit James Gunn up and you're like, I want to work on one of your DC comic films, no, I don't want you to draw Superman, Batman, Aquaman, but I'd like to see some sort of superhero doing fantastic things. Or is he going more realistic? You've seen his James Gunn's portfolio of work with the Guardians of the Galaxy and other films that he's done. You can sort of curtail to that. So I hope that Aud 10 Cafe, I hope that helps you out a little bit and gives you some, basics there. I don't think it's you don't have to be you're an illustrator, but then you don't have to be the best of the best. If you can tell a story, through your images and get the point across, that's what you're doing. But that's why you have all these other departments, character designers, and all these others to pull it all together. Can you draw, if you're working in animation, can you draw off model? Can you keep your characters on model? If that's something that you can't do yet and you want to get into animation, might be something you might want to practice or get better at. Marianne Jarrett says, I like channels that explain movie compositions. I was amazed by the Hunchback of Notre Dame and all the thought behind it. Yeah, there's some awesome stuff out there, and stuff is readily available to you. You have the art of books, you have a lot of the behind the scenes on the DVD of how they made this or that. I remember I was a big fan of Peter Chung's Aeon Flux when that first came out, and I created my own character that was sort of like Aeon Flux, and I was a big fan of Robert Valley's, his style and everything like that too. So that, it's just all things that you learn how to do. But Kunayumi says, thank you so much, Paul. Good advice. I'll have to watch and replay. Marianne said about the grayscale, but I guess time to study it. Yep, yeah, go for it. Study it. 3D Chick, super helpful. Thank you, Marianne. Thanks for the tips. I'll try it on my old work in progress. Awesome. Aud 10 Cafe. Just that when you were talking about how your friend does reverse storyboards, of a whole movie like Terminator, could having only that in a portfolio be enough for a first job? Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, not a problem. I wouldn't copy somebody else's movie and use that as your storyboard, because remember, Aud 10 Cafe, when you're storyboarding, if I'm working for a director or client, I need to be almost like I think of myself like Peter Falk from Columbo. If you're familiar with the Detective Columbo, it was a great TV show, and I was a big fan of Peter Falk's. And he wore a overcoat and always had a cigar and sure, I got one more question for you type of thing. And he always found the villain every time, and whoever the bad guy was. And he seemed like a bumbling sort of detective, but very, very smart, intelligent character. And I really like that character. And I think it's... I think you want to see something fresh and new. You want to be able to ask questions. You want to be able to read your shooting script. You want to be able to ask good questions from your director, your client, because you're a problem solver. You're here to solve problems just like Columbo. You're here to take somebody's vision and put it into images in terms of to tell their story, because it is cheaper than to go out and film everything, is to have one of us sit down and draw that blueprint out for the director, so that director can share that blueprint with other executives, their cinematographer, the screenplay writer, the actors, everybody, set designers. You can sort of play that movie in a relatively economical way, so you can get everybody on board, sort of the blueprint of the film or the animation or whatever. And I think they want to hear your story. So maybe somebody, like I was mentioning about Sachin, it's great that you practice these things. And we were talking about it earlier. I think the earlier question on, if I'm practicing and copying, maybe that'll help you to learn film language. That'll help you do some stuff. But I wouldn't put that out as my work, because you're pretty much just copying Steven Spielberg if you're doing ET or something like that. And it's one thing for learning and practice, but the point of it is do you know an establishing shot? Do you know a close-up? Do you know a medium shot? Do you know a cowboy shot? Do you know a bird's eye view shot? Do you know all your shots? And how do you master putting those shots together to build suspense, or to build storytelling, or to where you're going to place your characters and the blocking of everything? I think there's a lot to learn by doing that, but I wouldn't put that in and say, hey, that's my work. This is, why? It's like I said, one thing to learn, but if I was going to go and storyboard off of Albert Hitchcock's The Birds or Vertigo or something like that, you're just copying Vertigo. He already did it. What do we need you for? So do it in your voice. Do it. Learn those things, and keep it small. Instead of doing a whole film, pick out those sequences. If you're going to try to do the reverse storyboard thing, pick that sequence that you enjoy in that movie. Maybe it's at the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark, you threw me the idol, I threw you the whip. Okay, so you look at that sequence, and you're literally copying that sequence and drawing it all out. Cool, but then take a step back and then go, okay, using the framing. Maybe you're doing something else, and it's a fight over the cup of coffee, or whatever it might be. So turn it into your voice. There's one thing, but everything has a formula of how it's set up. But also too, it's like everybody has a you think of diner scenes, and you think of Tarantino and Reservoir Dogs, and you started off you're going around the table meeting all the characters and things like that. Well, maybe it's a turkey dinner, or maybe it's a Christmas dinner, or you're having some sort of party. It's a what do you call it, a retirement party or something. You know what I mean? And you're gonna think of that sequence as you're putting your retirement party together. What can you pick and pull, and how would you do your shots? So it's a good challenge, and it's one thing to learn, but another thing to go off and go do it your way, because that's what that director or client or advertising agency or animation studio is hiring you for, is to put your ideas and listen to others, whether it be off the script or a director, and you're able to bring their ideas to life. Cool. Hope the chat's been helpful for everybody. Any other questions? Drop them in the chat. I'd love to answer those questions, and be sure to drop them in there. We've had some great dialogue so far, so thank you so much for the questions, everybody. And if you have more questions, drop them into the chat. And let me take a sip of my drink here. So what is everybody working on? What are the projects? 3D Chick, what have you been working on lately? I've been seeing Buddha Belly's work. How about you, Marianne? What are you working on right now? And Odd 10 Cafe. What's everybody working on? Throw it in the chat. This is a good time for a quick little intermission. If you're enjoying this live stream and you found it useful, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'd super appreciate that. And for this particular video, drop a like on this particular video. And a quick little comment, even if it's just a happy face emoji saying, yo, Polly, what's up? Waving your hand. It helps tell the YouTube algorithm, hey, we want to see more of Polly, and we want to reach more artists out there too. Yeah, and also too, when you go to subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you're automatically notified every time I have a video posting. And if you've been enjoying our chat and you've enjoyed the live streams, I am not sponsored by Buy Me a Coffee, but I participate with Buy Me a Coffee, and I have my tip jar up right now. I'm about ready to open up our, we're probably going to do the one-on-one coaching. Is going to be coming up very soon, and I'm trying to open up my schedule to see when I could be available. So if you want to have pick a slot of time to hang out and chat with me one-on-one, that's going to be available to you, as well as future digital products and a membership program through Buy Me a Coffee. But If you're interested and you've enjoyed and learned something new today on the live stream, I'd love your support with just a cup of coffee. And I love this platform. It's pretty simple. You don't get bombarded by a bunch of emails. You don't have to sign up for everything. You can simply just tip me a coffee. I'd appreciate that. So, and I drink lots of coffee. I actually drink too much, but that's okay. I like it. Keeps me awake. But anyway, okay. Any other questions? Drop them in the chat real quick, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. Cool. Give it there a second here. I'm going to get this put together here. What happened here, guys? Cool. 3D Chick says, my work in progress is animating the prologue to my novel in Unreal Engine. I finally realized I was doing it the hard way by animating it first. Yeah, that Unreal Engine is super cool. I gotta dabble. I've been dabbling in Blender, but I have to get into the Unreal Engine. Another one of my friends, Ali Tan Art, got me interested in learning more about the Unreal Engine, how we could use that, you know, for your own work and stuff like that. Yeah, layer in there. How do you like that Unreal Engine, 3D Chick? You've been enjoying it? Is it hard for you or is it easy? Just curious. There's a learning curve. Okay, cool. Cool. Definite learning curve, but it's a blast. Cool. Yeah, I definitely have to check that out. It's amazing that the software at that level is free. So true. You know, same thing with Blender being open sourced. Only drawback besides putting in the time to understand it is your hardware. I can run it my old 1070 laptop, but it smokes on my 3090. Rendering on older hardware can take a while. Yeah. I could see that happening. So I'm just going to draw my mermaid drawing. If you guys have any questions, just throw it in the chat. I'd love to hear it. Yeah, I've been having fun with this mermaid challenge and stuff. I think it's important to give yourself challenges. Yeah, if you have any questions, yeah, throw them in there, man. I wish I had more questions, but I guess the only thing left to do is practice. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's practice, but there's always questions, and it's always nice to have somebody to answer them for you. Yeah, just keep practicing. Oops. You know, I know you guys are talking about practicing. Like, I gotta get into practice. Hey, listen, I've been doing this for years, and I still practice all the time. I practice every single day, and you got to put your, I love this craft. I love telling stories. I love, you know, what we're doing here, and I'm amazed all the time that I never thought I'd be a YouTuber as well, you know. Never thought. But it's like, I'm serious when I say it. You know, it's like I wish I had somebody there when I started off, you know, and like it's great to be able to talk to people and ask questions and okay. 3D check. Okay, question. Are there any books you'd particularly recommend? Shots. You'd particularly recommend shots, camera angles, and blocking. Those are all good things. I'm working on a book myself. But I think, what was it? Let me look that book. Shots. What's it called? There was a book I found. It was called, this might be helpful to you. It was called Film Directing Shot by Shot, Visualizing from Concept to Screen. This book came out in 1991. It's by Michael Weiss Productions. The reason I mentioned this book is this was one of my very first film books I bought for myself. I bought it over at, I don't remember if it was UCLA Film School or USC's film program. I went into, a buddy of mine and we went down to Los Angeles because we were considering transferring to film school. And we did tours both at USC and UCLA. And I picked this book up, and it was called, like I said, it was called Film Directing Shot by Shot, Visualizing from Concept to Screen. And I don't have the book today, but I was, and it seems like it's pretty cheap, like 25 bucks. Kindle's looks like $20.99, and it was a fun book. And if that would give you some value there, definitely check that out, 3D Chick. And I just remember, you know, going through it, and if not, see if there's like a flip through on YouTube or something. And I thought that was a very helpful book on understanding all that stuff. Marianne GR saying, I'm taking notes on this. Cool. Yeah. Film directing shot by shot. That was the name of the book. Buddha Belly, I don't understand grouping layers. What is that purpose? I do a lot of grouping in layers in Photoshop. And the reason why I do that is to sort of keep everything organized. So if I'm working on a particular shot, I'll have all the layers grouped for that shot, if that makes sense. So for that particular image, for that shot, I will have multiple different layers for that particular shot. The other thing I use a lot too is layer comps. Layer comps will, in a sense, take a snapshot of all the current layers that are currently open, and sometimes you do it shot by shot. There's different strategies, and go watch that YouTube live stream on setting up layer comps if that's something that you want to do. But I group layers to turn them off real quick. So I click once and all those layers are turned off. or I click, you know, usually when I'm boarding, I'll have multiple groups. Every shot will have multiple groups or multiple layers to that group, if that makes sense to you. Cool. Great questions, everybody. Super appreciate them all. Sitting here working on this gal here. She's got a little Baroque. So I'm going to go like this. That's what I love about Photoshop, is you can move things around a little bit. If they don't look right. Yeah, I've been having a blast with this mermaid thing. It's just been fun. Gives a good little challenge. Oops. I think starting this mermaid thing, I don't think I've drawn so many mermaids in one time. sitting. Yeah, I gotta seriously get into that blender. Unreal Engine, there's so many things. Oops. That was a no-no. Yeah, Odd One O Cafe says, has a question. Cool. Hey, Polly, do you have any tips for approaching the initial visual breakdown of a script? The moment where you're reading the script and making those initial thumbnails before diving into the roughs. Odd One O Cafe again says, watching you do it in previous live streams was awesome. But wow, is it challenging? Yeah, it definitely is. When I'm drawing and I'm reading the script, I don't know how you guys work, but the way my brain works is when I'm reading, quick story. When I read the book of Harry Potter, one of the first books that really got my attention was The Prisoner of Azkaban. And you know, by reading the story, I could see in a sense, the film in my head, my version, not, you know, of my interpretation of J.K. Rowling's book as I read her pages, and what I did was I could see it in my head, and I love the character of Sirius Black. That, you know, that was just awesome, and I love the character. I could see those scenes in my head, and the werewolf and the whole. If you haven't read the story yet, read the story. But I could see it in my head, and when I'm reading, the same thing happens when I read a screenplay and I read a shooting script, and I sort of see it, whether if I'm writing my own script or I'm reading somebody else's script. I sort of read it and I see it in my head, and when I'm doing those initial thumbnails, and we'll have to do that again. We haven't done it for a little while. We should do it again, or maybe I have through a membership or something for those of you that want to learn more and get heavy duty into stuff. I just have my pen or a pencil or something, and I'm just writing in the edges of the script. So if something hits me and I have to get it out, because I'll forget too, is I'll sit there and I'll sketch out just a quick little thumbnail drawing, simple, to the point, clear, concise drawing, and I'll put that drawing together real quick, and that's what I'll use that, and once I'm done reading the script, then maybe I'll need to sit down. I'll put questions together. I'll put some reference. I want to go research about it. Maybe, you know, maybe the story takes place in Egypt or something. So I'm gonna go, you know, go and, you know, and look up a bunch of Egypt stuff and things like that. And you know, I'll do the research, and then I'll sit down with the director or my client, and I'll sit there and go. I remember working on a World War II storyboard for a World War II movie, and I had to sit down and really go back in, and, you know, yeah, there's a lot of film reference for World War II now, but I went back and looked up images, real life images and things like that, to sort of get a feel rather than using a film to get some reference based on my initial sketches, you know. To try to give a different twist in terms of that particular film. So I'll write it. I'll just draw my little thumbnails on the sides. Like I said, I'll read that script a bunch of times. I'll do my thumbnails. Get some research questions and some research ready to go. I will talk and ask a lot of questions to the director. So maybe I'll have some, you know, thoughts or ideas, and just want to hear their vision of what they want to see. Sometimes you're working on a project, you'll have some concept work. Other times there's no concept work, and you're creating that concept work in terms of what you're doing. So lots of cool stuff to be asking questions of and stuff. But that's sort of how I do it. Then once I sort of have it, then I'll go do, I won't do a rough, I'll do more of a thumbnail storyboard that's actual drawn, but I'll keep it really simple and sketchy, and you know, but it's honed in enough that it looks professional, and then I'll go and submit that to the director or my client, get approval, and then I'll move on to roughs. Once roughs, sometimes they just stay at rough stage, or they go rough to a final, and that's it. Or if I'm doing concept work or something, they don't need to be full color or something fancy, or do something else like that, and we'll sort of go from there. But that's sort of the process, and I hope that helps you out. I wouldn't say it's a complicated process, but it takes a lot of mental work, and a lot of the pros I've talked to, you know, it's like we never get to talk about that. We never get to see that work. We never get to share that work. Sometimes films never make it, that I've worked on never made it off the ground. Project got canceled, or they didn't get funding, or whatever it might be. Even that World War II story, it was just a funding issue. It was a fun project, and just unfortunately they didn't have the funding to get that knocked out. So that's cool. So anyways, yeah, but we'll have to do it again. Maybe we'll do that in our subscription process, you know, for what we're doing, because I enjoy thumbnailing, enjoy telling stories, and anything I can help you guys learn, I'd be happy to do. Cool. 3D Chick says, I have a hard time with Blender. Its navigation and orientation messes me up. Sounds pretty complicated. I haven't played with it too much. I have a few friends that have. So this is a great chat, everybody. If you're new to the channel, drop your name in the chat. Tell me who's watching, who is hanging out. And always love meeting new people coming in on the streams. Don't be shy. This is sort of just an open Q&A, just hanging and chilling. Oops, didn't want to do that. A layer, then we can do that. Great questions tonight, everybody. Great questions. Same here. I haven't even find a way to configure the shortcuts. That Odd 10 Cafe says that helps out a lot. Thank you. When I tried to do it, quickly realized that it was much more challenging than you made it look effortless. That's sweet. Thanks. Yeah, it's when you do it all the time and it's like you're used to it. But if you're just starting off and you're getting used to it, and like, how do you do these things? You know, be patient with yourself. Don't be so rough. You have to be patient. Yeah, I gotta catch up on this mermaid thing. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this drawing yet. Let me throw a save on it. Oops. Yeah, I'm trying to see where I can go with this. This image here. Hmm. Just having fun with this one. What time is it? Oh, it's almost 1:40. Been going for a while now. Some great questions tonight. I'm glad you guys took me up on my offer. That's great. Thanks. Appreciate that, Buddha Billy. Yeah, just putting it together real quick. I haven't done any fish. Been drawing all this mermaid stuff, but haven't drawn a lot of... fish or different creatures or whatever. Hmm. Just draw some fish in there and have some fun with this. It's sort of coming together here. Okay, 1:44 p.m. Cool. Anybody else have any other questions? Throw it up on the chat. It's been a lovely evening with you guys. I'm gonna probably put a little bit more into this image and finish it up and post it over there on Instagram, either later tonight or get some rest and do it first thing in the morning and finish it up. Hey, listen, friends, it was a great chat with you today. I super appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to come and hang out with me. Super appreciate you. And, I hope you learned a lot from today's live stream, from the questions that the group has asked. And if you're catching this on the replay, throw your questions into the either DM me, email me, or you can leave a message here on the comments here. I'd be happy to get back to you on that. There's a few people I have to get back to get to back to their questions. So thanks so much for watching. I super appreciate, like I said, your time. I'm humbled and that you'd spend time with me tonight. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday night for our Sketching After Hours session. I'll go back to, we'll pick a topic and we'll sort of go over that. I don't know if we're going to do a master study or if we're going to go over a topic and go do that on Thursday. So I hope I answered everybody's questions to the best of my ability for you today to give you some know-how. Super appreciate Buddha Belly joining, Ode 1O Cafe. Thanks so much for joining, Marianne GR and 3D Chick. Always a pleasure, and it's great to have you back on the live stream. So thanks everybody for hanging. Oh, I forgot to mention Kodo Kunayumi. Thank you so much for joining in as well. And it was great to see everybody. I will see you in the next chat on Thursday. Again, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the next update. I will catch you on the next live stream, friends. I'm going to get back to work and finish up this mermaid real quick and get this thing posted for day 13 of Mermaid. Anyways, I look forward to seeing you guys next time. I'll leave you with my contact information, and I will see you on the next live stream. Remember, go tell your story. So, have fun with it. Take care. Good luck with your drawings this week. We'll talk to you later.